one Delta. I had two Delta, and then I realized that I was never gonna resolve Delta twice, and so I put an Upstart Goblin in over the other Delta. Because... Okay, not that I was never gonna resolve Delta twice, but I was never going to need a second Delta. So I put in Upstart because Upstart helps out in more situations than Delta does. Brian, how did you catch...
wants to blow his load.
Whatever.
Diva's facing me to spawn.
And then... I didn't like a lot of the extra deck options that I was seeing play. I honestly get the whatchamacallit package, the Dragoon package. Like, it makes sense to me, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of Dragoon, so I cut it for just 2 copies of Ntis in case I needed removal with Herald. Like, not all times that Herald is going to be relevant will I be sending Herald of the Arclight. Sometimes you'll want to send an Elder Entity Ntis, so I put that in. I noticed that a lot of builds weren't playing Anima, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out why they wouldn't play Anima, so I put it in. Cause sure, going first, Link Karibo's like probably your best option, but going second, people are stupid and Relinquished Anima comes up. And you're not burning through that much of your extra deck. So, notice a lot of people weren't playing Zeus, so I put it in. Because it's Zeus, and it's good.
Good luck.
Other than that, I feel like this is a fairly standard extra deck.
Fucked up the Rhine.
The side deck is where things get interesting. Of course, we've got Nibiru, Droll, Cosmic. These are the 3 cards I side in, like, literally every deck. But, you also have a single Herald of Purple Light here. Because, against trap decks, I felt like Herald of Purple Light would be a good side. Maybe Herald of Green Light would be cool against, like, I don't know, Striker or something, but I decided against it.
I got my ass clapped.
The real interesting thing here is the crossout designator with the Cycle Reader and the DD Crow. I think the Cycle Reader probably wouldn't see in the side, but I definitely know DD Crow would come up. Especially against Drytron. DD Crow is a very popular option because DD Crow is often used to out the Meteonis Drytron.
Move in a little. Never mind, play corners.
But I decided to include Cycle Reader as well because I was 1 card off of a full side deck. And I know people side Cycle Reader against Drytron. And Drytron is going to be fairly powerful in this next format because while they only have 1 Ava, they still end... while they cannot get 5 negates off of Herald of Ultimateness, they can get around 6 or 7 negates in total. So the deck will still be very powerful. Have you got a budget deck yet, Rez? I do have a budget deck, and I will show that off in a minute. I just wanted to go through all of the things that I've messed around with before I show you the budget tournament deck that I've come up with. Let's see, where was the next one? I figure I should show this off now. I decided to tease around with Mech Lords. This may not be the way you're supposed to play Mech Lords. This may not be the way that they intended you to play Mech Lords. But it is certainly the way that works the best. Believe it or not, there's accidental synergy with Mech Lord, Nucleus Infinity Core, and Machina Overdrive. There's even accidental synergy with Machina Overdrive and Mech Lord Astro Dragon Triskelion.
Pocket Lelucia.
it's actually pretty decent. You're able to destroy a Mechalord Nucleus Infinity Core to summon out a Citadel, and then use Infinity Core to summon out an Emperor Weisel. That gives you a spell negate plus a Raigeki for your opponent's side of the field. It's funny, not really good, but I mean, it doesn't need to be. It's Mechalord. And then, bringing this all together, Piri-Ria's map, is really decent. I mean, it searches you your Nucleus Infinity Core, which was the heart and soul of Mechlords, after their final wave of support. So, Piri-Ria's map is really decent. Where Art Thou is really good. And it is really good because if you get Nucleus Infinity Core, you can search your Emperor Grinnell and then just bin the Emperor Grinnell for off of like Mechlord Assembly to get a Weisel engrave, or to get a Weisel on the field, and then make a Link Karibo, and there's your Triskelion. I only run the one Triskelion because you really don't want to see it in hand.
Here, guys. I'm not great.
I also only run the one Grinnell because you're realistically not gonna summon Triskelion that often. Triskelion is a great option should you see it, but this is essentially Citadel Weisel Turbo.
I'm gonna have to play really fucking
Triskelion is great out of nowhere. It'll finish off an opponent like pretty easily, but the likelihood that you get to Triskelion is meh. So running it at more than one copy feels a little weird. And Mechlords are not comfortable enough at an OTK. Like, they do not have enough removal on hand to be just an OTK deck. Other than that, we have a very interesting sideboard. Mechlords doesn't really need an extra deck, so we're able to run cards like Dragma Punishment, and other cards like that. I considered running, the whatchamacallit packs. Thank you, Zexin EX.
I mean,
okay, can you tell me how to pronounce that so I don't fuck it up? Thank you for the subscription. Very kind of you. I honestly didn't know what a sideboard for this, so I sideboarded whatever. Mechlord Assembly is really good. Things like Pot of Disparity and Dragma Punishment are really good because your extra deck is really optional. We've got an Instant Fusion because if you open Instant Fusion and Where Art Thou and not Mechlord Nucleus Infinity Core, you can get it. Nice to see you, Arcana.
Not wiping the enemy team every 5 seconds. I blame him.
No problem. Been watching your YouTube for a while. Well, thank you. Nice to see you hop over to Twitch. This is where I do most of my content. It's where all of the clips you see come from.
Speeding.
Zex in EX. Gotcha. I'm just gonna call you Zex because that seems like the easiest way. Essentially, Instant Fusion is free protection for your effects, free removal should you need it, and also you can really funnily on turn 2 or 3 summon a Panzer Dragon, pop it with Overdrive to get a Citadel, and then get a free pop of any card on the field.
Without the Ryan, I could stall for a while.
This will probably never come up, but I thought it was funny, so I put it in anyway. The only cards that you will ever probably summon from your extra deck are Link Karibo, and your restrict cards. But just in case, we have assembled Nightingale in case we hit 2 level 1 monsters, along with Downward Magician and Zeus. And we have a access code package because it's better to have access code and not need it than not have access code and need it. At least that's where I come from on that. Citadel requires Earth machines. Panzer is light. No. Overdrive. You can pop Panzer Dragon with Overdrive. Because Overdrive says any machine monster. And so the popping of Panzer Dragon with Overdrive lets you pop a card.
Barriers and only 4 casts.
Because Panzer Dragon is when it's destroyed by any card. So if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So you can get a free Citadel off of Overdrive by popping Panzer Dragon, and then you get a free removal of any card on the field. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty cool.
That would be right there.
It's the same thing with Mechlord Nucleus Infinity Core. You can pop Infinity Core with Machina Overdrive and get a free Weisel along with a Citadel. Citadel only pops up when an Earth Machine monster is destroyed. That is true. But you will probably only ever need 1 Citadel. Hopefully. I could be wrong, and it could fuck me over for not having an extra Citadel or having extra Earth Machine monsters. We do have Grinnell. Grinnell is the only other Mechlord Emperor you play than Weisel, and I play it at 1 of. You could probably play it at 2. It's not bad on the board because it, at full HP, is a 4K beater, which is not bad. But I play it at 1 just for Triskelion. Because it's good. And then, of course, we've got, like, Hand Traps, Ash Blossom, Infinite Permanents. There are a lot of, like, flex spots that the deck has. Like, if I had to, like, list all of the flex spots, you've got... essentially... this... are your... oh, wait. Yeah. These are your flex spots, essentially. You've got all of these down here. I feel like everything else here is pretty required. Maybe the Where Art Thou's aren't. But, I felt like they were important. Disparities could be, Disparities very easily could be Allure of Darkness if you wanted to run more dark monsters in here. I feel like Machina, like, the Citadel plus Machina Overdrive package is really important if you want to play Mechlord effectively as not an OTK strategy. And Mechlord kinda doesn't OTK unless your opponent is playing Synchro Monsters. And you happen to snipe a Synchro Monster from your opponent's extra deck. Ironically, Mechlord is going to be somewhat okay in the format to come, because we will have a very powerful Synchro deck as a deck that will probably be very heavily represented in the coming weeks. I imagine that because of the hype built around Sword Soul, Sword Soul will be kind of all over the place for a month or two. And so if you want to play Mechlords, now would be the time, because, you know, your opponent is going to be on that, a lot of your opponents are going to be on that, Xingyang, or that Sword Soul strategy. And Mechlord can certainly fuck with that Sword Soul strategy. Mechlord seems to be very matchup reliant. That's why we are running a fuck ton of very generic cards, like the Machina Citadels with the Overdrives, like the Dogmatica Punishment, like the Infinite Impermanences and the Ash Blossoms. We're trying to squeeze all of the generic bullshit we can out of Mechlords as possible. That's why we're running 3 Weisel. Weisel is literally just a spell negate on legs, and that comes up very frequently. A few weeks ago, I went to Comic-Con and pulled a Starlight Stardust. Holy shit, you have the luck of the gods. That's fucking amazing. Other than that, we have one-ofs of Called By, 1-for-1, and Instant Fusion. I thought about cutting all 3 of these cards and just putting in 3 Crossout Designator, and then I realized that why the fuck would I do that? I'm playing Mech Lords. There's no need to do that. I'm only ever gonna resolve that for an Ash Blossom, and if my opponent Ash Blossoms like the on summon effect of Nucleus Infinity Core, who cares? Doesn't really matter. I made a level 1 turbo deck for my locals, and no joke, Weisel was the boss monster. Weisel is probably the strongest, like, single level 1, if you don't consider that Xyz monsters exist. I have been summoned. Welcome, Mechlord Best Deck. We are actually looking at my build of Mechlords. This is something I've been tinkering with for the past 3 days, along with the Drytron deck that I showed off a few seconds ago, and a Sword Soul list that is really bad. That is purposely really bad because I refuse to play a certain card. Thank you for the follow, Femboy Ray. Nice to see you. It looks decent. Yeah, I know you like Shadalls in Mechlord, but I quite liked the idea of getting out a Citadel and a Weisel with 2 cards just being Infinity Core and Overdrive. Ideally, some of the things in here could be changed, like if my opponent's on something that's really spell trap heavy. I mean, anti-spell fragrance is a thing that exists. You can't really play you can't really effectively play your like IO, because you do need the effects of like Mechlord Assembly, Perry Reyes Map, Where Art Thou, like these cards kind of need to go off. Couldn't you play Gustav? I have 2 level 10 monsters.
Roadhog can't run.
I suppose I could play Gustav, but I feel like it would probably be a little unnecessary and a little difficult to work with.
Got 'em all.
I suppose if I changed the way the deck played. Oh well, we have a Triskelion. The thing is that like Triskelion's kind of like on its own, really good. Like you want to attack with Triskelion because you're looking at your opponent's extra deck.
Running for our heals.
If you attack with Triskelion, you can look at your opponent's extra deck and snatch a card from it. I suppose to close out games, a Gustav wouldn't be a bad idea.
It's bad, so don't worry.
Like, maybe removing, like, maybe removing the Phoenix for a Gustav isn't a terrible idea. I've been playing a lot of Phantom Knights and very little Mech Lords, so I can't really call myself a Mech Lord specialist. That's fine.
I got Shattered and Visor.
That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Gustav is a thing that you could consider. Maybe cutting, like, the second Link Kuriboh or, a Nightmare Phoenix, for a Gustav wouldn't be a terrible idea. Just to burn for game if you happen to fade an OTK off of, Mechlord, Astro, Dragon, Triskelion. And that is if you have Citadel on the field, which you might not always, because we are running 2 of it, and it does sometimes show up in hand. The nice thing is that you can run only 2 Citadel and still resolve Citadel 3 times because you can recycle it off of Overdrive, which is cool. Okay, last list. Well, no, not last list, but
Really
last list
slow,
that I've
no
worked,
heals.
that I spent the week messing around with. I decided to update Xinjiang,
I styled mine
mainly
a little bit.
because... So the main reason I decided to update it was because I felt like it was put together very poorly, and I also felt like the 10E variant isn't really good. But at the same time, I really didn't want to play, the one Destiny hero card. Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Despite the fact that I think Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is a really good card, and will definitely see play in the deck. Sword Soul, I don't know, it's just kind of boring. Like, the deck isn't super fun. Now I have to go eat dinner. No, bye-bye, have a nice day/night. Have a nice night, Mech Lord.
Yeah, I should stop.
Sword Soul is a deck that requires literally 2 cards, that being Long Yun and Mu Yi. Has a fantastic board that is really easy to see.
I'm not even gonna amp it 'cause it's such a
And
close
I
game.
am probably playing wrong in many ways. Like, these Pot of Desires should probably be prosperities. This Upstart Goblin should probably be a prosperity as well. I'm playing randomly Ash Blossom, Veiler, and Infinite Impermanence. I suppose that these are the best hand traps of the current format. But, yeah. The terrible thing about this deck is that it really does die to any single one piece of interruption. The thing is that it's coming out after Crossout Designator. Nice to see
Ignore the fact that I'm
Chasco.
following Tracer. She somehow didn't notice me.
Is that a, that looks like a fucking... The evolved form of, fucking... Wooper. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but the evolved form of Wooper. This is...
My kill.
Quagsire. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Griff. This is the one deck that I have decided to put 3 copies of back row removal in the main. Cosmic Cyclone being
It's
the
with
chosen
Steam, I can't
card.
get 'em.
Mainly because this deck kind of
I'm not
wants to
good
have
enough
cards
to
in
beat
hand.
I mean,
And
I'm better than he
I
is,
also
but
know
I'm
that
good
you
enough to kill the
you
COS
fuckers like to
versus-
side, you fuckers like to run back row heavy decks and fuck me over with back row cards. So if I ever actually play this, considering how much flex space I have, Cosmic Cyclone isn't a terrible idea.
Beating.
Also, this deck has a lot of random one-ofs that you don't need to play. Something like the Iris Sword Soul is probably very unnecessary in this deck, but it's an extra Sword Soul name, and I felt like it wasn't a terrible idea. Back row removal is always nice. Can't count the amount of times I've ran into painful back row. That is very true. Back row removal. Back row decks are very, very annoying. I know, because I play Salamangreat in locals,
Sorry, I'm
and
trying to protect Honor
I
from Tracer.
placed 6th just off of my Salamangreat traps.
Let's just back up on it.
And the fact that I can recur Ash Blossom, like, that's really dumb. Who thought that that was a smart idea to let you do? Who the fuck was like, oh yeah, by the way, recurring a,
Get fucked, Tracer.
recurring a Salamangreat trap is fair, or like recurring Ash Blossom is fair. Okay, so now let's look at the budget tournament list. For those who do not know, Smile,
No.
I play Salamangreat as my
refuse
main
to die
too.
like that.
Nice, good to hear, good to hear. For those of you who
I
do not
don't-
know, we are holding a budget
fairly
tournament
good.
where you get $25 to build a deck. You use TCG player price listings and all that.
Not
These
only did I
decks
survive,
really
I
aren't
made
gonna
it all
have
the way back to our
sides.
spawn.
Because you get $25, and if you use any expensive cards, you're fucked. But, last
I got
night, I
fucked.
decided to just
Mind shatter.
throw together something that cost $25 and see how I liked it.
If I didn't get
And
fucking,
it'll
like,
probably
one
be
tap
the deck
there,
I go
but
with, because it is a deck that I quite like. Abyss Actor.
I can't make it. I'm not even gonna try.
This is just about the dumbest thing I think I've put together. This is hard going second Abyss Actor. Oh, just play Appliancer? Yeah, that's fair.
A pixel before the death box and slowly hop
The only expensive card in this list is Curtain Riser, coming in at exactly $2. Not even Twinkle Little Star? Griff, it's right here. What do you mean not even Twinkle Little Star? It's right here. It's just a one of. Because you can set it directly with Mellow Madonna. I didn't see her. That's fair. Abyss Actor is a hell of a fucking deck. Their art flows with each other. Oh, it really does.
Yeah,
Abyss Actor is such a fancy fucking deck. It's not necessarily amazing. Curtain Riser is like a level 4 extender, ain't it? Yeah. Curtain Riser is a level 4 extender. That is essentially what Curtain Riser was used for.
We've got Tracer still.
Curtain Riser's whole big shtick is that you can like place it in your Pendulum Zone to summon it. It is a dark level 4 monster, which is really good, and which is why it was $5 a copy in 2018 when it first came out. Because literally every I see it in Time Thief. It's run occasionally in Time Thief. It was certainly run back then. You also saw it every now and then in Orcust or Lunalight as a level 4 extender. Just generally, like, if you want a level 4 that just summons itself to the field, Curtain Riser is your go-to. Because it's a spell effect to summon it. And not a monster effect. So, pretty decent. Same thing with extras, but your opponent has to control the monster. Your opponent has to control a monster for extras. Our expensive cards in this list are Curtain Riser at $2 and Evil Heal at like $1. And then the rest of these are all less than 30 cents. I like Abyss Actors because they might as well not have effects, and they have a Raigeki. Like Rise of the Abyss Script Rise of the Abyss King is absolutely busted, and consider that Abyss Actor Superstar makes it so your spell and traps, when this card is normal or special summoned, your opponent's spell / traps and effects cannot be activated. So Superstar shuts down spell and trap effects for the rest of the turn after it's been summoned, and you will want to see this card. This is literally your best card. Evil Heal may be the card that you're going to win with the most often, but Superstar is absolutely amazing. It sets you an Abyss Script from your deck. It shuts down spell and trap effects for your opponent after it's summoned. It is absolutely ridiculous. Abyss Actors is just a blind OTK deck. Yes, that is true. That is why for my flex spots, while I didn't have that much to run off of, I decided to go with Galaxy Cyclone and Mystical Space Typhoon. Both of these cards are really dumb. I probably didn't need to worry about stuff like Abysstainment and Opening Ceremony and Fantasy Magic, but I decided to snag them just in case. I've seen Abyss Actors try to play, but they die to a single hand trap. That's true, but imagine that most hand traps, sans Effect Veiler, are pretty expensive for this particular format. When you have $25 to build a deck, and Ash Blossom costs $25,
well, the lowest is like 15.
Abyss Actor is fair. Also, this random Drowning Mirror Force should probably not be a Drowning Mirror Force, and instead should probably be a Abyss script, it should probably be an Abyss script Fire Island or Fire Dragon's Lair. I'll probably make that change now, actually, since Fire Dragon's Lair is actually cheaper. Gold Rare Bell is 5 a copy, so 12 for a playset. Yeah, exactly. It's, when you have $25 to build a deck, some concessions need to be made. You know what I mean? And for this particular list, I mean, I feel like it's a fair use of $25. Abyss Actors is quite the deck. I wish the deck had more back row removal. Like, if they got one Abyss script card that was, like, negate back row, that'd be nice. I picked Abyss Actor because of Fantasy Playhouse. Or, sorry, Fantastic Theater being really nice. Just, like, turning a monster effect into fuck you is pretty decent. I think the cheapest deck I have is Low Rarity Shaddolls. Yeah, that's probably the cheapest. It'll be even cheaper after this next round of reprints that they're getting, because Shaddol always gets reprints. It's gonna be great to see, too, because we'll get the new stuff reprinted, and the new stuff is, like, not the cheapest. And also, we're getting the trap card reprinted, which is amazing. Yeah. What's funny, is that Abyss Actor is a fairly competent strategy that costs literally nothing to play. It's really nice. Like, 9 out of 10 opening hands will get you... All you need is a monster that is lower than level... All you need is a level 4 monster to go full combo off of Hyper Director. So you need 2 cards. A monster that you can summon and a card that you can set in your spell and trap